Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back with another video, and today we're going to take a look at the upcoming waves of Transformers Age of the Primes. There is a new crossover figure for Stranger Things. The Align Continuities Binder of Revelation has been fully unveiled online, and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a bunch of reissues for figures that you guys have been waiting to get from previous waves of figures over the last couple of years that you're finally going to be able to get your hands on. And I'm going to talk about that and more. So sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch. Links in the description below. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys today about is the fact that episode 15 of Transformers Cyberworld has recently came out, and it's the latest episode, and it changes some things for Optimus and Bumblebee, gives them a new upgraded forms to what they had previously. The episodes are really short. They're only like 5 to 7 minutes long, and so the story moves along pretty quickly. But on top of that, it's breakneck pace. It definitely targeted towards a younger audience. You may or may not care for it, and that's perfectly fine. And I don't like the way that they're having, like, you know, episode 15 comes out, and the episode that's uploaded has 14, 13, 12, 11, like, in that order, you know, in one video. It makes the package of trying to be able to watch it very, very difficult. I hope that they change that to make it a little bit easier to follow along. But the show itself, it's okay. You know, I'm really enjoying the Skybound comics for sure. You know, definitely check that out if you haven't been reading the Skybound comics. Goes to show you that, you know, Transformers media can come out and it could be targeted towards different demographics and really resonate with some people and not so much with others. The toys for Cyberworld obviously are aimed at younger. Most of us who are adult fans are collecting things like the Age of the Prime stuff, and that's fine too. The Energon universe itself will be getting an animated series. They'll be doing a G.I. Joe crossover. It is actually crossing over into Mask. They actually did do that recently, and there is like this whole space adventure with Void Rivals and Sharkticons and the Skuxoid and the Slizardo are all there. And I look forward to whether or not this animated series is going to be good. I'm hoping that the voice acting is good. I'm hoping that the animation is awesome. And I hope it really expands upon the universe in such a great way, because a lot of people do like the Invincible cartoon. And, you know, maybe they are going to hit that same, you know, demographic. The only thing about the Skybound comics, which the thing with Transformers is like, this is definitely not a kid show. This is definitely not a kid's comic book. There is gratuitous violence. You know, Starscream quite literally goes splat with his hands, and you kind of see blood squirting, or you see certain characters bite the big one. But there's some very cool stuff in there. So, I mean, I do recommend, you know, older fans to check out the Skybound Transformers comics if you haven't done so already. If you don't care for them, that's perfectly fine too. I'm very optimistic about it, but at the same time, I'm cautious just because we've seen what Prime Wars trilogy and Netflix's War for Cybertron trilogy, and not everybody liked those series. So we're hoping that this one is actually very, very good. We'll see. That being said, there is a lot of reissues showing up in US retailers, and people are able to get their hands on figures that they previously could not get their hands on. It seems like they just, you know, Run Amok is showing up in stores here. I believe this is the Dark of the Moon, Optimus Prime, or, you know, I think this is Revenge of the Fallen, Optimus Prime Studio Series 32, you know, live action Optimus. Some fans really wanted that figure, so they re-released that. They really released Run Amok. If you take a look here on Entertainment Earth, which I do have affiliate links for, they have the links for the pre-orders, so you can get the Power of the Primes Predaking, which some people really like that figure, some people don't. But Breakdown. Breakdown is on the list of figures who is you're able to get for a reissue. So if you couldn't complete your Menasor, you now can. If you missed out on the Nemesis, you can get your hands on the Nemesis. There's quite a few different things on here, and I'm going to leave the affiliate links below for it, because it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, these figures come out, and sometimes they just have a short time on the shelves, and they don't end up getting reissued for quite a bit. Like Grimlock was kind of like that, where like he was on the shelves for a bit. No one knew if they were going to do the rest of the Dinobots. All of a sudden they said, no, we're going to do the rest of the Dinobots. And now you're like, hey, where's Grimlock? We can't get our hands on Grimlock. He's so high priced in the aftermarket. Well, then they do both Generation 2 and a refresh of the Generation 1 at the same time. And you're like, okay, well, are you going to do the rest of the G2 Dinobots? Well, they've done Snarl and Slag now as a 2-pack. And now we find out they are going to be doing Swoop and Sludge, who both of those characters were planned for Generation 2, but the figures just didn't come out during Generation 2. And so this is canceled deco for it. But before I actually take a look at the figures themselves, just take a look at this box. You notice, like, right in between Swoop, you know, but like right to the left of Sludge's head, you know, in Dino mode, there's a face right there on this promotional art. And I don't know if this is on purpose. Some people think that this is John Cena from, you know, the Bumblebee movie, you know, taking a screenshot from that and just placing it like right there. Maybe it was a reflection, maybe something else, but it seems to actually be there on the promotional art itself. Taking a look at both Sludge and Swoop, I'm not really a fan of these colors. Like the Generation 2 color schemes for the Dinobots were never really my thing. I never really cared for them, but I did collect them. I got all 3 of the ones that they released at retail, and I kind of looked at Sludge and Swoop, and it was like, kind of hoped that they would have done something a little bit different, but this was the colors at the time they would have chosen had they released the figures. Take a look at Swoop's head, though. It is a new sculpt. It is a toy-accurate head, so he has the visor. So you know what that tells me? They are going to release Swoop with a red chest. They're just going to do it. And I know that they're probably just going to release him as like toy-accurate Swoop, but I kind of like the idea of maybe there being a toy-accurate Swoop who is a different character from the cartoon or from the main cast. Like maybe he's just like Swoop's brother or something. I don't know. Just come up with a different name for him that might actually be able to fit your toys, you know, your toy shelf. But still, this color scheme is wildly different than what you'd anticipate even out of the other Dinobots. Even their Dino modes, like a green-headed, you know, Swoop and like the silver on Sludge. I actually like the Dino mode on Sludge in particular. It's just that the colors on Swoop look a little play school. It's probably the best way that I can describe Swoop's colors. But it is still cool if you want to get the extra swords that he comes with if you missed out on the first release. Personally speaking, I'm happy to have all 5 of the original G1 Dinobots, you know, for the Studio Series 86 figures. But I'm also happy for those who want to have that complete set of 5 Dinobots. Now, that being said, I think that they need to do something about completing Generation 2 Menasor. They've already released Breakdown, they've already done Dead End, and it's all in different waves and stuff, and they're hard to get. I think that they should just bite the bullet and do like a 5-pack of the Generation 2 Stunticons so that everybody can get their Generation 2 Menasor to face off against like these Dinobots. That would be kind of cool. You know, maybe we'll see if they actually do that. Now, this was something that I did not expect them to do, is to do another, you know, Stranger Things tie-in. But then again, Transformers does tie into the 1980s. And so since the TV show takes place in the 1980s, it is kind of neat to do some sort of crossover with this news, you know, van and having a different robot mode called Freakwency. Kind of a cool looking character. You know, there in the middle of his chest is where this like robot chicken kind of goes inside, I think. It's kind of transforms into this bird. And no, he has a different chicken gun. I'm incorrect there. There is a cassette that turns into a bird. It looks like a retool of Laserbeak. Maybe this was designed to be like an updated Soundwave, and they decided to make it a new character. Because that's what it kind of looks like. Like, you can literally turn this into a new version of Soundwave minus the chicken. Like, it's so weird, like, having a chicken. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what the purpose of this is. But, maybe it's just because they're doing a crossover. I kind of wish that it was more in line with the Shredhead character from the Skybound comics. But it still looks cool. Like, even if you're not a fan of Stranger Things, the robot mode, the robot looks cool. The van looks cool. It's just a neat throwback to, like, the time and place with these kind of vans were out there, and Hawkins Hitmaker. Like, again, you don't even have to be a fan of Stranger Things to appreciate this as a figure. Maybe this could also turn into the A-Team van. I could see them doing that. That would be kind of cool if they did that. Like, turn this into the A-Team van, and I'm sold. I also want to take a look at the next wave of Age of the Primes figures that are coming out. I've talked about them previously. I've talked about the ones that I really, really want to get. I recently got my hands on the Age of the Primes Vortex, so I'm all in on getting the Combaticons. We know that Blastoff and Brawl were revealed. We've seen the prototype at, I think, one of the conventions for Onslaught, and now Blastoff and Brawl have been revealed too. So I'm like, yeah, I've got to be able to complete that Bruticus, and I'm also going to be taking the time this week to open up and review the Age of the Primes aerial bots and combine them finally, because it's just kind of like something that I've been wanting to do for a little while. And taking a look at all these figures, just like, yeah, it's really, really cool. This one is the one I'm probably looking forward to the most. Quick Strike. Probably because I love Beast Wars. I really like that Silverbolt figure. I know friends that didn't care for it. The only thing that I need to get is that upgrade kit for Silverbolt. But Quick Strike looks great. I think it's a great looking figure. The whole snake head, the fact that the figure doesn't use clear plastic, which is kind of scary, because the original figure did. The original figure was all in clear plastic. And the actual Fusor Scorpion mode looks a lot better than Scorponok, the Beast Wars Scorponok figure, which is another character that I definitely need to make a retrospective on soon. But they are really featuring Scorponok a lot in Cyberworld, and I want to wait until that storyline plays out and see what they do with it. This year, in 2025, they did a crossover 4-pack with Optimus, Megatron, Starscream, and Bumblebee to be like these specialty 4-packs that are going to be coming out every year with a different theme. And the theme this year was Hearts of Steel, which is obviously based upon the IDW comic book. But for 2026, they're doing something completely different. Now, this was revealed at New York Comic Con. They showed the first 2 there. That was about a couple weeks ago. And at MCM London, the next 2, which is Megatron and Bumblebee. And I gotta say, looking at them, it's a pretty cool idea. So obviously, taking a look at Optimus Prime, it's pretty much, what you'd expect out of a G1 styled Prime, but as a samurai. So he has like the big armor, he has a spear, has his main weapon. I'm surprised it isn't a katana blade, but then again, it's each character is going to have their own different weapon, so to speak. And his alternate mode, the idea behind this is that if he had landed in feudal Japan and yokai actually existed, he would transform into a mechanical bull with a trailer. It's basically a truck with a trailer. And that is kind of the whole idea behind his alternate mode and his transformation. With Starscream himself being based upon a yokai. Now, some have pointed out or thought or believed this to be an Airraiser retool. I don't think that is the case. I think it is using similar molding or similar tooling. It's not exactly the same, but Starscream looks great, I have to say. In fact, his whole idea is that he transforms into an eagle. And his robot mode is supposed to be a yokai. So you have Samurai Optimus, Yokai Starscream, very, very different. But then we get the next two, and you have Ninja Bumblebee and Oni Megatron, with in-hand images actually showing that Bumblebee transforms into a flying squirrel, and it's Megabore. I gotta say, that is pretty hilarious. He actually has a fusion cannon, and all four of them look really good together. I really dig Ninja Bumblebee. Like, the whole headband, it kind of reminds me of, like, you know, that style of ninja with the gear and the, you know, the chainmail, and, you know, kind of makes me think about Naruto, if you're a fan of that. Obviously, ninjas are older than that, but all four of them just like have this pretty cool aura about them. And it's not necessarily something that I would buy myself, but I think it's a really neat idea. It's very creative. It's a different idea and take on these characters while being familiar all at the same time. It kind of goes to show you that Transformers has kind of in a way become a brand more than it is a franchise. And so pretty much these characters can be applied almost anywhere and have different themes to them and still be new and fresh while still being familiar. And that's kind of the idea that they're going with this. I think it's a nifty idea. I really, really dig that Ninja Bumblebee. I really do. And last but not least, let's talk about the Binder of Revelation. So this is a document that has been out there. Hasbro made this document to make the foundation of the aligned continuity. It lays out everything that they wanted to do, the whole idea behind the 13 primes, that they all where they come from, and you know, they comes out with the idea that the 13th prime is you know, becomes Orion Pax and then becomes Optimus Prime. Like, it's not my cup of tea, but at the same time, like the High Moon Games picked up on a lot of it and tried to run with it. The Transformers Prime creators said, well, we'll just do our own thing. Maybe we'll piece a little bit out of there, but we don't really give a crap about what Hasbro has to say. Yes, that kind of is what happened with with Transformers Prime. And then they kind of went this different direction for Transformers Robots in Disguise. That being said, this isn't necessarily to say the aligned continuity was like the worst thing in the world, but this does kind of give you the revelation, you know, the idea of where they wanted to go and where they wanted to like keep the foundation of the franchise to move forward. It doesn't always have to follow this, but this is where the aligned continuity was conceptualized as a whole, and it's kind of cool to see. Now, the document that is out there now has been, you know, changed. It has been updated over the years. This has one of the updates that they had gotten from the live action films at the time. It got a lot of information from the Robots in Disguise 2015 cartoon at the time. So all that stuff is all amalgamated into it to try and shoehorn everything together. So if you want to see how the aligned continuity is made and how it works, this is the document that you want to see and read. Not all of it is what made it into the shows or the games or anything, but this was just the founding document of where they wanted to go. And this is probably why I'm of the opinion that the aligned continuity as a whole, not necessarily the shows or the games and stuff like that were failures, but just how they tried to make everything work, and then at the end of the day didn't work, is probably why I'm like, maybe we should take a step back and kind of like reevaluate this thing and make some alterations and changes to it. But, you know, hey, the aligned continuity at this point has come to a close, so it is kind of cool to see where it all began. And last but not least, I do want to talk a little bit about Blockies. These figures that have been coming out, they've been doing these non-transforming like model kits, and now they're doing the alternate modes for some of them. Kind of cool, not necessarily my thing, But I know a lot of fans are really digging them because if they're not really into transforming the figure and they just want a highly detailed thing, they're doing Generation 1 stuff, they're doing live action stuff. So if you're a fan of Blockies, you know, that might be right up your forte to get some things like Nemesis Prime or the Optimus Prime with the alternate mode, or the Dark of the Moon, you know, Megatron, or the Generation 1 stuff. Like, that's pretty cool stuff, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people really, really dig Blockies. With that said, I wonder what you guys think about all this Transformers news. Are you excited for a lot of these reissues that have been coming out? Are you sitting there saying, like, maybe I'll hold off on this one, I definitely want to get that one? And what do you think about the Binder of Revelation getting revealed? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comments section down below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers videos like this, including some revamped and brand new retrospectives coming down the pipeline, so you can stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.